Ghana recorded 69 new cases on November 27. Active cases are 1,709, which is still a significant number, especially when it doesn't really tell the full story. The Ghana Health Service has so far administered 3.1 million doses of the various vaccines, even as it works towards inoculating 20 million Ghanaians before the end of the year. Ghana's stock of the vaccines has increased in recent weeks, but do we have enough? And where do people go to for their vaccines? Our guest on the show will be Dr. Kwame Amponsa Achiano, Programs Manager, Expanded Program on Immunization. Our other conversation this morning is climate change. Ghana has been identified as one of the countries fast depleting its forest reserves. President Akufo-Addo revealed this in a meeting with the Ghanaian delegation attending the ongoing UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland, and has tasked the Lands and Forestry Minister and the Forestry Commission to immediately fix this. Sir Kwame Boateng, who's following the event, will join us with updates. And then the Ghana Chamber of Mines is talking about commitment to health and safety as part of its National Safety Week. They will be here to tell us about the National Intermines First Aid and Safety Competition, an annual contest designed to educate mine workers, host communities, and the citizenry on basic first aid tips, as well as to foster the adoption of basic safety measures. We also have NSMQ 2021 updates for you, and then Showbiz with IB. I'm Mr. Lai, and I'll be doing this with Inimado, the Adorable. Good morning, and stay tuned in to the show.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapita Sibidi. In our first story, members of parliament are asking the judiciary to ensure strict adherence to laid down procedures of the House following charges brought against Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu. The police service Wednesday officially filed a court case charging the MP with the offence of the destruction of public property after a protest against bad roads in his constituency. On the back of that case, which will be playing out in court on November 8, some of Mr. Sosu's colleague MPs have been reacting to the latest development. Some of them have described the charges as far-fetched. Also, the Speaker has issued a statement accusing the police of undermining his powers. Parker Wilson captures all the latest happenings and reactions in this report.
The Speaker of Parliament, in a statement, fumed with rage over attempt by the police service to flout his earlier directive and arrest the NP for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, even before the Privileges Committee begins its probe into the contempt case against two senior police officers. Portions of the statement read, "It is important to note that, despite the pendency of the contempt complaint by the member and the referral to the Committee of Privileges by the Right Honourable Speaker, the police service decided to proceed with their decision to attempt to arrest the member. This is a clear violation of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution and gross disrespect to the Right Honourable Speaker and Parliament." The police service, instead of engaging the Right Honourable Speaker and the leadership of the House, surreptitiously attempted to arrest the Member of Parliament on Sunday, 1st November 2021 in church, where he fellowships. The Speaker acknowledges that members of Parliament are not above the law. The issue is not that a Member of Parliament cannot be investigated or arrested. The issue is the procedure to follow to investigate or arrest a Member of Parliament. The statement goes on to say the privileges and immunities of Parliament, the Speaker and members of Parliament and the clerk exist to guarantee the independence of the House and ensure that the legislature is able to undertake its constitutional duties without unnecessary encumbrances and constraints. The statement concludes by saying, these recent events should not be understood as an attack on a single Member of Parliament, but an attack on Parliament as an institution and the democracy of Ghana as a whole. Shortly after that, it emerged that the police has officially charged Francis Xavier Sosu. Some of the MPs who reacted to the development want the court to ensure full compliance of the parliamentary procedures in their attempt to file the criminal summons against the MP. Here's MP for South Dai, Roxy Nelson Dafiemekbo.
If they are of the strong conviction that Sosu has committed a crime, they've gone ahead to issue a criminal summons. Criminal summons is the processes that will detail the charges that have been leveled against the accused person, the brief facts in support. It's a court process that you file. So they've gone to file it with the court. So where we stand, if that is the procedure, then it is the registrar of the court who will take steps through the bailiff to now serve that process on Honorable Susu. And in serving this process, recourse will have to be had to Article 117 of the Constitution. There's a procedure outlined there in serving a criminal or a civil process on a member of parliament. If the police, now it's not the police, if the courts proceed on that and Susu is served, he will take the necessary steps to defend himself competently in this matter. He can either appear pro se, that's for himself, or he will go with a lawyer of his choosing to go and defend him. And I have absolute belief in his ability to defend himself.
Member of Parliament for Impriority constituency, David Opoku-Ansah.
Away from that, the National Road Safety Authority is investigating 2 crashes at Obofo and Akumadan in the Ashanti region, which claimed 26 lives in 2 days. The death toll in Monday's road accident at Obofo has reached 20, as 3 more children on admission have died. There's more in this report.
On Monday, 17 people, including 10 children, died in a fatal accident involving a Mercedes Sprinter bus and an articulated truck in the Obofo forest in the Ashanti region. The Offenso MTTD commander, DSP Edmond Nyamiche, confirmed the death of 3 more children, bringing the death toll to 20.
17 died on the spot, and then 16 were injured. But they were all rushed to the hospital. But unfortunately, yesterday and today, 3 of the victims also passed on, making 20.
Preliminary investigations indicate the driver of the articulated truck was dozing and veered off his lane, leading to the head-on collision with a Sprinter bus. DSP Nyamiche says the necessary action will be taken when the driver recovers.
A preliminary investigation revealed that the articulated driver, in fact, as a result of fatigue, drove carelessly. That brought about the accident. So we are monitoring his recovery. Then we can, in fact, charge him appropriately to court.
On Tuesday, a Kumasi-bound bus collided head-on with a Kia towing vehicle at a police checkpoint at Akumadan. The bus caught fire, burning 6 people beyond recognition. Akumadan District Police Commander DSP Joseph Jesse Ajimang says the driver has reported himself to the police for investigations to begin.
My divisional commander called me that the driver reported and he caused his arrest. And then he was detained. So this morning, my crime officer sent a team to Ahinkro and they brought him. We have just finished taking statement from him that you called, but he was also complaining bodily pains. So I have directed that the investigator should escort him to the hospital for him also to be taken care of.
As a policy, wherever 5 or more deaths occur in a road crash, the National Road Safety Authority dispatches an investigation team to ascertain the cause of the accident. Director General of the authority, May Obrieboa, says the investigation is to help fashion out policies to prevent future occurrence of such crashes.
So far, I think that for the 2 crashes, about 26 deaths, and we think that we cannot sit down unconcerned. Some of these investigations that we have done have helped us in some advocacy. For some years now, the authority has been advocating for dual carriages on our major roads because some of the investigations that came out, the results or the recommendations have been that some of these could have been prevented, or these crashes could have been prevented if we had dual carriages or multiple lane roads. If it's training, we will insist that they do training for their drivers and also ensure that anything that they have to do to prevent future occurrence, it is done.
A report by Solomon Oforiamanfo.
Households in Ghana have over the years struggled with increasing cases of robbery. Fortunately, a graduate of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has developed a security system which sends signals to your phone to alert you of an attempted burglary in your home. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku engages CEO of Tech Device Hub Limited, Stephen Frimpong, on this new security system.
Ordinarily, burglar proofs are designed to be secure and to frustrate any attempted burglary in your home. What if we had a burglar-proof device that could send you a cue through a mobile phone call that there has been an attempted burglary in your home? So let's find out how smart security system works.
My name is Stephen Frimpong, the CEO of Tech Device Hub Limited. We've realized systems in Ghana here, are not the best fit for our part of the world. They are all imported systems because you'd buy a similar system and then it will need internet to report. Meanwhile, that is not the case over here because we don't rely a lot on internet. So these kind of stuff motivated us to build systems that are the best fit for our environment.
So what motivated you to develop this idea?
Most people have CCTV cameras in their homes. But then there was this article I was reading of some guy whose house has been looted. He has a CCTV footage of those people, but up till now, the people have not been found. So we decided to come up with a system that when the people are in action, when they open your door or when they enter your house, it detects them so that you are able to see them in action, and then it scares them away with an alarm. So this one, aside you seeing them in action, it also prompts people around with an alarm to scare them away.
So Stephen, we want to know, how does this system work?
The smart security system is designed to check your doors and your windows, as well as your house. What it does is, it is designed to detect intruders. It has its own way of detecting intruders, and it's able to detect inmates or people in the house with a card. So when someone enters your house or someone opens your door, it checks whether the person stays in the house with the card. So if it doesn't see any card, then it identifies that person as an intruder. Hence, it reports to you wherever you are on your phone via a call and SMS, as well as sounding or triggering a very loud alarm, which is 120 decibel, to inform people around that there is an intruder in your house. So this is how the system calls you when it detects an intruder in your house. It calls you to inform you that there is an intruder in your house so that you can go and check. If you have a CCTV camera, you look into it and then you see what's happening. In the near future, we believe these systems should be employed for shops. Come to talk of shops in Kejetia, Edum, Makola, households, and then all places and facilities that need security. Come to talk of even factories, in order to improve the security. It is also intended to be used especially outside Ghana too, because one of the big problems it is solving is being able to report to you.
International NGO BHEC Africa is set to honor 6 traditional leaders and rulers across the country for enhancing local governance. The initiative will also praise these rulers for spurring development at the community level. Prince Apia has more.
Which is scheduled for November 27, 2021, will honor the contribution of traditional leaders in advancing local development. Dubbed the Royal Citizens Award, it will honor carefully selected traditional leaders who have contributed to significant development in their communities through proper local government systems. Officials of BHEC Africa NGOs Alliance paid a courtesy call on Ejabehene, who will be honored on the day, and officially invited him for the event. Popular actress Akofa Ejeni Esiedu is event organizer.
local government enhancement, it's something that we need to encourage more, because you can't leave it to just the central government. And we all know that in the olden days, it was our rulers who were really doing all the work before the DCs and MCs who are now taking part of their work and almost overshadowing what our traditional rulers are doing. Now we know that most of them are doing extremely wonderful things that impact their communities, their citizens, in terms of sanitation, agriculture, health, and so on and so forth. So this celebration that we are having for the iconic 7 that, after I said, they had been chosen, I think it's in the right direction, so that it will spur them on to do more.
Madam Ejenu Esiedu also revealed the occasion will be used to support the chiefs raise funds for specific projects in their communities.
We at BHEC Africa and Youth will facilitate to help them raise funds to do something that they really have the passion to do but can't have the funds to do it, because we have a lot of citizens staying outside the country, and so if their king calls out that this is something they want to do, I'm sure that everybody will rally around it and come so that they put up that special project that they want to put up in their communities.
Dwabehene received the invitation from the team during the Akweside celebrations in his palace. Dwabehene Nana Otu Srebo II was excited by the honor.
A man for a baby, so I saw Munani. Professor, I see on the cake, and I did a so cry. Ama yet way.
Organizers say the Royal Citizens Award celebrations will become an annual ceremony to honor deserving persons across the country. Prince Apia reporting.
We end the AM News. For more news, you can log into myjoyonline.com. My name is Mapito CBD.
I never use 20 minutes to do a daily graphic. I never. Everybody else watching knows.
Okay.
Okay?
It's just me.
It's just you. Can we check the time? Okay, so it's 6:32.
6:32.
Let's go. We're starting with the daily graphic, and on the front page, exercise to halt Aboboya operations on motorway begins. The story is on page 16. So let me get to that, because at one point I thought they had actually suspended the exercise. In fact, the Daily Graphic had reported that they had suspended. It was supposed to have started November 1. And then Daily Graphic reported that they had suspended the exercise or postponed it to February 2022. Turns out it has started. So a combined task force from the Tema Metropolitan and Tema West Municipal Assemblies in the Greater Accra region have begun an exercise to arrest and prosecute operators of motorized tricycles, popularly known as Aboboya, for flouting regulations restricting them from plying the Accra-Tema motorway. So a number of them were arrested, and as of 11 a.m. yesterday, 8 motorized tricycles had been confiscated. Some of the offending riders were conveying bags of sachet water for delivery to clients in their tricycles, while others were loaded with iron rods heading to building sites. Okay, so yes, they're seen as a nuisance, but they're also saying that they're offering, it's a source of employment for several young people. And so if you shut them down like that, you're going to throw them out of jobs, and they'll end up in other, and end up with other vices. Okay, so that's the story on exercise to halt Aboboya operations. So it's actually begun, they're enforcing it. Now, improving revenue performance, expand tax coverage. Dr. Alina Chia tells government at Graphic Stanbic Forum, says financial consultant and senior lecturer at the School of Law, University of Ghana, Dr. Abdullah Alina Chia has called on the government to use the 2022 budget to broaden the tax net to raise more revenue. He said expanding the country's tax net to cover new people would shore up government revenue inflow to fund development without necessarily introducing new taxes. So this is something that has been said all the time, that let's expand the tax net so that we don't have the same people who are paying taxes all the time, being the ones paying taxes all the time. Because it turns out that a lot of the time, it's mainly the formal workers who are being made to pay taxes because the taxes are deducted at source. But then if we broaden the taxing so that the informal sector, everybody is paying their bit, then the burden is not going to be so much on just a few people who are paying taxes all the time. And then we can also raise more revenue to do other things. And he makes reference, there's also reference to property taxes. Says Dr. Bafo, who was one of the speakers there, he says, the country should go back to property taxes through a simple automation to plug the loopholes while urging the government to ensure value for money by providing basic social amenities such as roads, electricity, water, and others to justify the collection of rates. So that's another angle of the conversation. There are many communities where they don't have roads, they don't have water, they don't have electricity. They essentially don't have the basic amenities. So how do you go to these communities and say you're going to, get them to pay property taxes when really you're not providing, or the state hasn't provided, hasn't provided.
There's actually even a story in the Daily Guide about a school in a little village somewhere, and the parents are being taxed a toilet levy. Yeah, tax toilet levy for their kids. So it's here. Adamansu DA Primary School in the Menfi East District of the Western Region. The parents are quite furious with authorities because they're asking them to contribute 60 Ghana cedis per child for the construction of a toilet facility. So yeah, I mean, when you're having to raise money, having to raise money for toilets to be constructed in schools. One parent says he has five children there, so he's going to pay 300 cedis. When they're already barely making ends meet. So, yeah, basic amenities is an issue. I think also when it comes to tax, we also kind of talk about the foreigners who work in Ghana, and some of them are able to get really good tax reliefs and and that kind of thing. And I mean, making the country more attractive investment-wise, but sometimes at a cost to ourselves. Exactly.
But that's why the conversation has come up that we should look at the tax exemptions bill. Yeah. So that we know who actually qualifies. And
if it works for our benefit. Yeah. If somebody's bringing in something that we cannot produce here, so we're giving them, tax exemptions, will it be even more profitable to actually invest what would have been the tax benefit, the cost of that, into a Ghanaian firm to help them produce that here and pay tax? I mean, these are things that we have to look at. But then again, the Ghanaian, we're our own worst enemy, because you set up a company and then, your employers will ruin it for you. So employees will ruin it for you. So.
All right, we go to the politics page. Police filed 2 charges against Sosu. Appears in court November 8. So that was on the front page. That was actually in the AM News, brought to us by Mapitso Sebede. Attempt to arrest Medina MP, offend Constitution Speaker. That was also in the news. Now, Cape Coast sues MP for defamation. Cape Coast MCE sues MP for defamation. The Metropolitan Chief Executive for Cape Coast, Mr. Ernest Arthur, has filed a defamation suit against the National Democratic Congress Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South, Mr. Kweku Rikitagan. The MCE on Tuesday, October 26th, filed a defamation suit against the MP following what he described as defamatory comments about him and Mr. Rikitagan after his confirmation as MCE. All right. Our Build United Front for 2024 victory, that's in Tim Fojo, an aspiring, it's Stephen Ayesu in Tim, actually, an aspiring national chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Then form partnerships to deepen digital economy. That's Vice President Dr. Baumia. Then we go to the center spread. And Judicial Council sensitized to national security strategy. Okay, so the members of the Judicial Council have been sensitized to the new National Security Strategy document. Then government initiates program to reduce emissions in cocoa share sectors. This is the outcome of the conference, the climate conference in Glasgow. And then about 34% deaths attributable to non-communicable diseases. That's the Ghana Health Service saying that. In business, GEA, Ghana Employees Association, Ghana Enterprises Agency actually, has started disbursing 13.8 million cedis to 212 applicants under the 145 million cedi Ghana Economic Transformation Project grants. Okay, Ghana among top 5 in AFSA Financial Market Index report. That's all in business news. Then we go to Showbiz. Too blessed to envy Shatawale, that's Black Rasta saying that. So if you're one of the people who think that radio presenter Black Rasta's recent comment about the law dealing with Shatawale following his publicity stunt gone wrong is an indication that he's envious, he has a message for you. He says, I'm too blessed to envy Shatawale. Right? Go to, there's a few more stories and then we're done. FDA launches new licensing scheme for food vendors. And Koforidua Anglican Church supports prisoners. And in sports, Ratri Park boss commence GOC. And Stars coach to name squad today. Okay. Black Stars coach Milovan Raivach will name his squad for next week's Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Ethiopia and South Africa at the conference room of the Ghana Football Association Secretariat in Accra at 12 noon today. Kotoko host Bechem United on Sunday. I see. See how that goes down. Why?
Oh, sigh. Don't let me get started.
On the back page, JICA supports Ministry of Health with equipment. And the equipment was provided through a project for strengthening community-based health services in the Upper East, Upper West, Upper East, and Northern regions. And then make prostate cancer treatment affordable. That's Dr. Yani. He's the head of the Medical Center for Radiotherapy and Nuclear Medicine at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
When was the last time you checked your prostate?
That was last year.
Okay.
And I need to be doing that this year.
A lot more.
I should be taking time off sometime.
You need time off to check your prostate.
Yeah, I need to do like a thorough medical exam.
Yeah, you can do it after work. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times this morning, Koforidua Jubilee Park in ruins, Ghana A50 monument, new home to lunatics, stray animals, re-smokers, and miscreants. Cabinet approves new wildlife resources management bill. Ghana signs on to leave coalition at the climate change confab in Glasgow. Okay, so pretty much similar stories as to what's in the Daily Graphic. Police to take Medina MP to court November 8th. Driver in trouble, oh God, for dislodging effluents into Odor River. Okay, I'm not going to tell you about that. It's in the Daily Graphic. Speaker fumes over warrants to arrest Francis Susu. If you've been following that story, then you know that the Speaker was saying that members of Parliament need to be treated in a certain way. They are the lawmakers after all. And so, don't want to see the police kind of harassing them and all of that. But anyway, Mr. Susu will be going to court November 8th. So we'll see how that goes. War crimes possibly committed in Ethiopia. Death toll rises to 22 in Nigeria. Building collapse. Now, this is a story. Prank calls frustrates the National Ambulance Service in the Volta region. And that's according to the Volta Regional Administrative Manager of the National Ambulance Service, Mr. Bright Keminu. So he said in the last quarter of this year alone, we received at least 20 of such calls, and this is in spite of the vigorous public education by the National Ambulance Service against the trend. So what happens is that people, just like for fun, will call the National Ambulance numbers and then have the ambulances come out and it was a prank, like it was a joke.
That's so wrong.
And it's actually not funny because
yeah.
every time you do that, you're potentially depriving somebody who needs it from having it. So it's really actually quite a cruel thing to do and not funny at all. Let's consider therapy for rapists, not just jail term. So there's that as well. Government to install 10,000 CCTVs by end of year. And if they do that, oh, this is funny. Listen, so the government is to install 10,000 CCTVs by end of year.
Yeah.
If they do that, it will bring the number of surveillance cameras to 10,800. The reason I think is funny is that, which means we only have 800.
800 now, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, let's see. Ghana records 1,000 stroke cases annually. And we talked about heart disease last week. Keeping your heart healthy. GJA mourns Richard Kweku Ajay. May your soul rest in peace. Okay, the Vice President says government plans to ensure available, affordable internet service to all. Cabinet approves new Wildlife Resource Management Bill 2021. So it's aimed at bringing the new legislation into conformity with the existing policies in the sector and to provide for the implementation of international conventions on wildlife to which Ghana is a signatory.
You know, the bit about government to ensure available, affordable internet to service to all. It reminds me, the Vice President, when he spoke at Ashesi the last time, he was talking about how they're making internet available to the schools and all of that. But you recall that the schools, some headmasters came together and were like, what are you charging us for? You said you were giving us free internet. And then you come back and say, we have to pay for the internet.
We have to pay for it, yeah.
So
there's nothing that is free in this world, though. Everything that is free, somehow you pay for. Except, especially when it comes to governments and citizens. One way or another, you get taxed for it. I think what they mean by free is that there'll be no
upfront
upfront payment. Exactly. Thank you, Israel. You read my mind. Judicial Council staff sensitized to NSS. NICU soldiers launches Scones for Life to support preterm babies. Central Regional Police Command honors fallen police officers. May their souls rest in peace. SNIT to pay over 3.3 billion Ghana cedis in benefits this year. Reduction in interest rates to ease access to property acquisition. So some banks are reducing their interest rates, which is good because the interest rates are killer. Okay, let's do some football. Ethiopia, why we've decided to host Ghana in South Africa. Ronaldo drags United towards last 16 with crucial double. NSA club can't sell tickets on digital platforms now. Hazakas ladies going for the CAF Championship League. Karela United, Ghana Gas, and the take cleanup. 6.5 million school-aged children to deworm this month. The Ghana Health Service is going to try and deworm 6.5 million school-aged children this month. So that's good. Okay, that's it for the Ghanaian Times.
Okay, let's go to the Business and Financial Times. And the main story on the front page is digital economy success hinges on collaboration. That's Dr. Baumia saying that. But before I get into the other stories, there's the Vice President was saying this at the Sanchat FinTech Summit. Now, if you look at the photo, one of the issues I've been having with these photographs that they put out, the people are looking in one direction. And the photographer is also, so they're smiling at another cameraman. That's why I keep saying that you call the attention of the people, tell them to look in one camera at a time. The same thing is on the same photo of that same event is on page 20 of the Daily Graphic. And again, the people are looking in another direction.
Wow.
We should fix this thing. It doesn't take too much to get this done.
It doesn't. Like say, look here.
Yeah.
Look here.
So
look
you let one cameraman go at a time. So cameraman one, grab the attention. Cameraman two, it's your turn now.
Do you think this same kind of discipline could make Hearts of Oak a better team?
Hearts of Oak is a better team. Hearts of Oak is a really good team.
Okay, I was just asking, please. I'm sorry.
They are the champions of the Ghana Premier League. Okay?
Please, we are sorry.
You should be. Also, on the front page, digital economy success hinges on collaboration. Well, that's the story I was talking about. Private sector owes SNIT over 230 million cedis in outstanding debt, and focus on efficiency in collection, not new taxes. Let me repeat that. Focus on efficiency in tax collection, not new taxes. Okay? That's ISA saying the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. And on page 5, digitalization is not an answer to widespread economic hardship and mismanagement. That's Francis Xavier Sosu, who is wanted by the police. Apparently, but he has an article here in the Business and
He wrote it. So what he did was that he wrote about 6 of them.
Okay.
Last
I'm
month.
sure this is in reaction to what the Vice President said. Yeah,
okay.
it is. So, delivering an address at Ashesi University on the topic Transforming an Economy Through Digitization, the Ghana Story. Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, credited the
he wrote
Kofado
this
government.
this week.
So he wrote it, and okay. So yeah, that's it for the Business and Financial.
Oh, you're done. Okay. Daily Guide this morning. Francis Xavier Sosu on the front page as well. He's kind of trending, isn't it? British Airways is doing a sale, just in case you wanted to take me to London. Oh.
Sounds good.
$692.
Yeah.
All-inclusive fares in economy.
And then 2,717 business.
Please, please, please. We have not reached that side.
Oh.
Okay. So international stories. Nigeria races to find survivors as 22 die in building collapse. Republican wins in Virginia governor race. Colombia landslide kills 11. Then war crimes possibly committed in Ethiopia. Man arrested for raping mentally challenged woman. I don't know what's wrong with you. And some entertainment. I wish to give Dampare a handshake. That's going to Lil Wayne. Stop the illegal sampling of songs. And gospel musician in infidelity drama. So apparently this gospel musician was there. No, he heard somebody on the radio saying that she was having an affair with him. Interesting. He's been married for 4 years. The story unfolds. So we'll find out whether it's true or not true. Okay, FDA launches food vendors licensing scheme. Oh, that's an interesting one. Imagine if all our food vendors had to get licensed. So the yam seller, the banku seller, the TZ seller, those by the gutters and the roads. That would be interesting. I hope that it's an easy process, an interactive process, and something that's a bit fluid, because we can't just go from complete lawlessness to what I mean. And our food is very, very important to us. So please, we don't want any problems. A 2-4 pledges support for GMB 2021 Queens Prison Project. Bruno K drops Higher We Go tomorrow. And Yflix Ignite Media Group, Nera Sokado. On the back page, Emery rejects Newcastle. Xavi begins Barca job after international break. Milo names Black Stars squad today. And there's a picture of Dede Ayew on the back page there. I'm sure the question is whether he will be called to play for this one. Okay, that's it for the Daily Guide.
Okay, I'll do the daily statement quickly. So Scholarship Secretariat Civil Service signed MOU to train workforce. We want curfew at Pram Pram. Chief Petitions President and IGP. This being, maybe let me just go to that story. And so following last week's alleged gun attack at Pram Pram in the Greater Accra region, which led to the death of the head of Clay Quarters, Nene Aye Utuse Klo II, the area appears to have engulfed in insecurity. All right, so that's why they're asking for the curfew at Pram Pram. Collaborate more for Ghana's growth. VIV urges stakeholders in finance sector. Cabinet's OK new wildlife resources management bill. That is it for the Daily Statesman.
Okay, so really quickly, the Business Finder. Pensions. SNITS doles out 2.7 billion Ghana cedis. Ghanaian company transforms waste into profitable, environment-friendly products. New COVID-19 vaccination requirements take effect November 8th for U.S. travelers. So new rules for travel to the United States go into effect for flights departing on Monday, November 8, 2021. Okay, so the Biden administration has allowed for a limited exception for some countries, including Ghana. Under this exception, which will be reviewed every 90 days, unvaccinated travelers may enter with non-tourist visas using their Ghanaian passport, but will be required to have a negative COVID-19 test administered within 1 day of travel to the United States before boarding. There's no exception, however, for Ghanaian tourists and business travelers. You must show proof of full vaccination and negative COVID-19 test. So if you were planning to go to the US, those are some of the things that you need. Of course, including a visa. Just saying.
So the people who are curious, okay, so how can I get my vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine? That's a conversation we're having this morning with Dr. Mponsa of the Ghana Health Service. Yeah, okay. GTA launches events for December festivities. The Ghana Tourism Authority and the Beyond the Return. We talked about this. The Ministry of Tourism is expecting 150,000 people to come in for Christmas with so many activities. Of course, so you can expect a lot more traffic. But also COVID-19, because we saw what happened last year. Yeah. You know how our numbers went up. So if you're planning to chill this Christmas, then you definitely need to be careful as well. Okay, that's it for the Finder. I think we can do the dispatch quickly before we go to my joy online. So the Daily Dispatch. Ghana card will be recognized globally as an e-passport in 197 countries. That's Dr. Bamia saying that.
I really need to get my Ghana card done.
You should.
Yeah. I mean, they went on a break. They've come back. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Bamia highlights 5 digital innovations by Kufuor government. Fuel prices will remain stable when PSRL takes effect. MPs Mustafa Hamid saying that. Then, yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay, let's go to myjoyonline.com. Okay, so you're the one joking, not Sosu and I, Dafia Metbo, fires back at Sam Okujeto. Oh gosh, okay. Answers to Ghana's problems do not lie in digitalization lectures. Sami Jemfi tells Baumia. This picture of Sami Jemfi, I think, is the most used picture of Sami Jemfi.
In that case, most abused.
Most abused. I mean, he's always like, it's even a meme. I can't think far. So, yeah. The most nebulous, yes. And then there's also the meme that says, this is nebulous. Good morning, Sami Jemfi. We blocked entrance to China Mall to protect our land. That's according to the West Hills Mall squad. Government complete takeover of Airtel Tigo. Somebody was asking that, does this mean that Airtel Tigo is now the new Ghana Telecom? No. Finding the witch hunters. We brought you that yesterday. IGP Dampare is being overzealous. James Agalga. 2 arrested for parading teenagers naked on the streets of Ekwapim at Oso. Police investigate another alleged kidnapping in Takrade. And Parliament not opposed to police charge on Susu. That's according to Kofi Adams. That's about it for my Joy Online this morning. But Israel, so do you want to just give us a brief overview of what we can expect?
Right, so it's about the COVID-19 vaccines. We're having a conversation with Dr. Mponsa Achiano about where we can get the vaccines, what's the situation, how many vaccines are available, and can we actually meet the target of vaccinating 20 million Ghanaians before the end of the year? That's the target that the Ghana Health Service is working with. That's what the President has said. And we've had a number of the vaccines. We've increased our stock in recent weeks.
Yeah.
So we get to know where people can go. I know the Ghana Health Service is also rolling out the new phase. The latest phase requires that, there are no restrictions now. there used to be restrictions. We're targeting specific groups.
On who can go, but
right now it's been open. It's been opening up. So where can people go for those vaccines? That's a conversation we're going to be having on the AM show. Okay. We'll also be bringing you updates on the NSMQ 2021.
It's wrong.
It's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. I think I want to find out that if I'm not going to ask the same question you asked, but I mean, basically, if any girls' school was going to win the NSMQ, which school do you think it would be? So, and maybe you can open the phone lines and do that and shame our enemies. Yes. Okay, so amazing show coming up for you, but we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we have some sports, and then, of course, Israel and I will be back to take you through this morning. Don't go anywhere.
Despite the reported thousands of dollars pumped into the transfer market to sign some of the best talents in Ghana football, Legon City's quality can only earn them a top 8 finish in the Ghana Premier League, according to their head coach, Maxwell Konedu. Well, Ghana football has been saddled with alleged misconduct of officials. GFA President Kurt Okereko has warned that anyone who is found culpable will not be protected by him. And Liverpool and Ajax Amsterdam joined Bayern Munich and Juventus into the knockout stage of the UEFA Champions League. Good morning, everyone. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, and this is AM Sports. Let's start with the president of the Ghana FA, Kurt Okereko, who has warned that he will not protect anyone who misconducts himself to bring the image of football in the country into disrepute. Mr. Okereko said he is determined to cleanse football to win the confidence of the public.
There are statutory provisions under our statutes, which is very clear, which we have wholly respected over time. I mean, you can't prevent somebody from misbehaving, sorry. But when it is that it happens, there are rules that you have to follow. And I think over last season, we did our maximum. We continue to educate people. I think that the educational drive will be intensified this year. And hopefully, we would be able to minimize the act of hooliganism that we all went through. It's important that people understand that there are always 3 results in the game: a win, a draw, or a defeat. It's simple, okay? And when it is that you're not happy, there are laid down procedures for you to address your concerns, and we must respect the laid down procedures that we have. Well, I think that we've done our best, and we continue to do our best in terms of engaging the security agencies. I've gone as far as the IGP, but we'll continue to work for football in this country. The judicial bodies are working, and we would also encourage the IGP and his personnel also to be by our side. Currently, we are facing one major one, which is currently going through the process. Educational drive will be intensified. Obviously, those who are caught will be brought to book, and I have said it over and over again that I'm not going to protect anybody. Okay, if you misbehave, you face the full rigors of the law. Simple.
Let's talk about club football now, and the Chief Executive Officer of Asante Kotoko, Nanaya Amponsa, has told supporters not to get carried away despite the Porcupines' comeback win against Dreams FC on March Day 1 of the Ghana Premier League. He said though the win suggests the mental strength of the team, it is quite early to be overly excited.
In the league has started well, because we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. No complacency, because it's nice to feel. It's a nice feeling. A comeback like we did, 5 minutes of full time to equalize and score. 3 goals. In how many minutes? 6 minutes. It's a nice feeling. But it's a game that could have equally lost, because despite the fact that we dominated the entire game very well, we were not converting our chances. So we need to keep cool heads, both the management and technical team and the supporters. We can be excited, but we should also exercise some caution and restraint and keep supporting the team. We believe very much in this team. We believe that, for instance, if you look at the old players, when I say old players, those who were there before this season, about 16 or about 15 of them, almost all of them were very active in the first 11 during last season. So it's not as if it's a completely new team. The core of the last season's team is there. That core is there, and we have augmented it with some quality as well. So we believe that the league is a marathon. We just played one game out of 34, so we have 33 more to go.
From Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, we go to the camp of Legon Cities, where their head coach Maxwell Kennedy says their target is a top 8 finish this season. The Royals survived relegation by the skin last year, and Maxwell wants to be more moderate about their ambitions.
We didn't do too well last season, but we have put in measures in place that will lift the team's performance to appreciable level. We're not going to, go down like we did last season. And with the squad we've put in together, we are very sure that first 8, first 6, that is our target for the season anyway. So we are working towards that, and we are very sure that we can achieve that. We have to be moderate because we can't tell our supporters we're going to win the league. But at least a team that's nearly escaped relegation, we have to be moderate in our certain targets, We believe we can do better, but just in case we fall within these areas, we'll be, thankful. And we know the squad we have. We know we can do much, much better than this. We have a very small squad. In total, we are still about 27, 28. We still, looking here and there. And the players we are picking, we are making sure we are picking talented and quality players, so that whatever will be added to them, they will not struggle to hit the level we want them to hit. So I think we are on course.
From the Premier League, let's talk Division 1. And owner and bankroller of Sky FC, Wilson Arthur, has told Joy Sports his team failed to qualify to the Ghana Premier League due to inexperience. He believes winning the maiden edition of the Division 1 Super Cup has put them in good stead to compete for a top-flight ticket next season.
We are hoping that we will take this form. It's a pre-season, so all the investments and the solid team that we have now, we hope that it will carry us into the season.
Now, talk to us briefly about the targets of your team, because if you come in to compete against the best and you are able to win, it clearly shows that you've got a potential to win. Tell us, what is the target for your club next season?
Last season, in terms of quality of play, we were the best team, but we couldn't qualify because we didn't have the experience. My boys have gone through this. Now I think they are more experienced, so I'm hoping that the quality will tell.
To the sports ministry to pay him $50,000 severance package. Sources close to CK Akuno have told us that they've not gotten to the point where they will go into the Court of Arbitration for Sport, but the Ghana FA appears to be dodging meetings with his lawyers, and they could be forced to take that next step if the Ghana FA do not meet them. The last meeting was supposed to happen before the Congress, but it never did. And lawyers of CK Akuno might just go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport if they don't meet the GFA anytime soon. He's asking for about $600,000 for the decision of the Ghana FA to terminate his contract. It's been a pleasure coming your way with AM Sports.
This is still the AM show, and just gone by was sports. Now, we're going to have that conversation about COVID-19 vaccines, but the other conversation we're having this morning has to do with climate change. And Ghana has been identified as one of the countries fast depleting its forest reserves. President Akufo-Addo revealed this in a meeting with the Ghanaian delegation attending the ongoing UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, and has tasked the Lands and Forestry Minister and the Forestry Commission to immediately fix this. Seth Kwame Boateng, who's following the event, joins us with updates. Good morning to you, Seth, from Glasgow. How's Glasgow this morning?
Good morning, Israel. It's very cold, extremely cold. And and we are preparing to leave or to start the day. And today, the energy minister is coming because today is the energy day. So the energy minister is coming to interact with other people from other part of the world attending this summit, this conference, like the natural resources minister did yesterday.
All right.
The whole day was for him, and it's going to be the same for the energy minister today, Israel. But it's very cool. But so far, so good, Israel.
Okay. Before we get into what the energy minister is, we're expecting him to come say today, and I'm excited about energy because I'm expecting to hear that, okay, we're introducing some new renewable energy initiatives so that people can take up solar electricity and the others. But let's go back to yesterday and the depletion of our forests, which President Akufo-Addo was talking about. Now, when I spoke with you on News Desk on one of the shows, you indicated that the minister was going to be addressing or talking about how we're going to resolve that problem of the depletion of the forest. Do we have any ideas how we're going to go about it?
Yes, yesterday he addressed a number of meetings, and this very issue came up. And in all the meetings, he cited, aside the June tree planting exercise we did, which he said made Ghana plant 7 million trees. Next year, we are planting 20 million trees. And he says that's the beginning. But also in the cocoa growing areas, people looking for acres of land to do their cocoa farm usually will bring down trees and also deplete our forest. He says measures have been taken and they have had talks with the Ghana Cocoa Board. They have also engaged cocoa farmers so that there will be a win-win situation. Aside that, he said there are some punitive measures in place. For example, they're going to ensure that every timber we see on the market would have been properly approved and given the go-ahead to be sold on the market. So some measures that we put in place will ensure that nobody would have the freedom to just go to any forest, bring down timber and export. That's not going to happen again. But he emphasized on especially how Ghana plans planting more trees. He says that's just the beginning. But aside that, illegal mining, those who are mining in our forest reserves, they are also bringing down trees. He told the world is the reason that government is vigorously dealing with illegal mining, and they are making sure that that is also stopped. But Israel, this conference is really shocking me, and I'm not in this alone. Especially people from other parts of Africa, the less endowed countries attending this. It appears that discussions going on, Israel may not help Africa in some way, because Israel, we are happy we have oil in commercial quantities. We know that other parts, the developed nations, some of them developed through that, proceeds from oil, and they made it. But here's the case, we are being told oil is not the way out because of climate change. We should go hydro, meaning very soon, the oil that we have discovered in commercial quantities that we are happy, no developed country would be willing to buy because we are going hydro. And Israel, just imagine that, those who sell at Abusioka, the spare parts dealers. So if we go hydro, I understand no vehicle will be using engines, so there will not be any parts for anybody to import and sell. So let's imagine what's going to happen to our brothers at Abusioka, at Kumasi Magazine. Let's also think about fuel stations. What happens to the attendants? But Israel, let me quickly have this interaction with one of our negotiators, Mr. Samuel Doche. He has been leading Ghana. He has been joining other leaders from Ghana to speak to the world about what we need and how to help. And yesterday he made some frightening arguments and That's why I'm bringing him in this morning. So thanks, Mr. Doche. Let's start off with our earlier discussion, the meetings that you attended, especially the last one you attended and you came back very sad. What made you sad from that meeting?
Yeah, thank you very much, good people of Ghana. Speaking from Glasgow. Yeah, the meeting that we had yesterday is on means of implementation. That's the resources or the financial resources that the developed world promised to made available to developing countries to address the issues of climate change, which is a COP decision. When I say a COP decision, it's a multilateral law that had been adopted in 1992. But unfortunately, the same people who made a promise or a pledge in 2009 to mobilize in excess of $100 billion a year for developing countries to assess in order for them to address the impact of climate change. These same people now come back and said, okay, you know something, we are going to come up with a new collective goal, meaning that we are now going to share the burden even on resource mobilization in order for us to address a problem that they are substantially responsible and where we are at this moment.
Because they are emitting like 76%.
Yes, of the global emissions.
And we are Africa.
Africa is about less than 4%.
Less than 4%, and they want us to share equally. Is that the case?
Yeah, they want us to share the money that is needed to address the problem.
And I know that from that meeting, it came up that they have also put in place stringent measures such that some countries may not even be able to access those monies even when they are made available. Is that the case?
Yes. Yesterday, I made a case that it doesn't make sense, excuse me to use that word, for a country like Ghana in accessing this fund will have to spend 4 good years in responding to questions upon questions from these multilateral funds. Because the time that these monies will be made available to you, assuming you wanted to address an issue of degradation in a particular ecosystem, and you have to wait for 4 good years. By the time you go back to the same problem that you identified, for example, if it's in 2018, by the time you get back, you get your money in 2022, the situation or the issue would have changed drastically. So what it means is that the monies, even though some are being made available, the mechanism, the processes that you have to go through, if you don't have that high level of technical capacity to develop financially viable projects, then forget about it. Quite a number of countries yesterday at the meeting were very worried about the continuous nature of bottlenecks that are being introduced by the funds that have been set up by the parties to address the issues of climate change in developing countries, including Ghana.
And I know that you mentioned that for years, Ghana has not been able to assess. When was the last time we were able to assess something from them?
Let me quickly say that one of the funds that was created in 2001, we call it the Adaptation Fund. Since 2001, it was until 2014 that Ghana was able to access about $8.8 million to undertake projects in the northern part of the country. Now, if you come to the Green Climate Fund, which was established in 2010 in Mexico, which I was present, it was until last year, thank God, the Forestry Commission has been able to access $10.1 million to address the issues of deforestation within the shale landscape in the northern part of the country. And let me also add that the Global Environment Facility, even though they made available on 4 years basis what Ghana should receive, because for me, that money is just too small. And of course, they are gravitating now into more loans than grants. That has been the spirit of the concept.
So now they want to rather convert whatever they promised into loans. Is that the case? But that wasn't the agreement.
Exactly. That was that. You know, in negotiation, each country is looking for national interest.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a strong national interest and a strong position, what it means is that you are always going to be at the losing end of the game. Let me indicate that yesterday, Colombia indicated that for them, the transaction costs, if you apply for a grant or a loan, you want to undertake a project in your country, we call something special drawing rights. You are dealing with currencies that are, should I say, approved, the dollar, the yen, and the rest. The Colombia is saying that, look, it is high time the international community or the funds look at advancing monies to them, even if it is a loan in their national currency, because when you experience currency fluctuation, you realize that you take $10 million, by the time the money is delivered to you, it's about $8 million.
That's right.
So they are very concerned about that. Meanwhile, when that happens, you are going to pay back the original amount, which is $10 million, but it has depreciated. So you see, like for example, if you take Ghana, for example, if you go in for a loan in dollars and looking at the current rate of depreciation, by the time you receive the money has already depreciated. Meanwhile, if you are paying the money back, you pay back on the original principal.
And is Ghana also making the same argument, or we are okay?
I am making that argument today at the informal consultation section on finance and technology meeting that we have this morning. Very strongly supporting South Africa and Malawi, indicating that we cannot continue going the path that we are going.
Okay, let's quickly talk about the border taxes. And Israel, this other one would also shock you. How, if we are not careful, and how, if we don't bring our experts together and depoliticize climate change, how we are going to lose as a country if we don't make a very strong case in this ongoing meeting. Let's talk about that. Is it the border taxes or steel?
No, before you get into the border taxes, I want to engage Mr. Doche a bit on the issues that he's raised so far. So it's all well and good that we are negotiating hard to ensure that we get a good deal out of whatever funding that's being made available. But then I'm asking, let's have the conversation for a moment between ourselves. And between us, I'm asking, do we need any motivation from anywhere to preserve our forests?
That I would say yes or no. Yes, because forest has been identified as one of the key tools for mitigating the impact of climate change. So once Ghana is a country, once we have the land, which is very good for forest conservation, then of course, if we are increasing our forest cover, there's the need for the world to compensate for that.
Oh no, but okay, so I'm looking at it as in, if we increase our forest cover, we get the benefits ourselves.
Sure.
You agree? So then why do we need anybody to pay us to do something good for ourselves?
Israel, what you have to know is that the issue of climate change is not restricted to the borders of Ghana.
I agree.
Therefore,
but then we get the benefits, we experience the benefits here in Ghana if we preserve our forests.
Exactly. But again, just as I said, the trees that we have in Ghana, when they remove the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, we are not the only people who are going to benefit from that service being provided by the trees that we have planted. So for that reason, somebody have to pay us for doing that. Whilst we are getting the benefit as a country, the world is also benefiting from us through our efforts. Because mind you, we are going to spend some part of our national budget in doing that. Just as the developed world, also having got the path they have over the years, and not telling us that yes, when we emit, we produce the cars for you, we produce the fridges, we produce the electrical equipment. So for that reason, let us share the burden of cleaning the atmosphere. For that reason, once we also undertake activities such as tree planting, growing our forest cover, it is important, or it is imperative for us also to tell the world that yes, of course, we were not part of the problem, but we are part of the solution. So for that reason, you need to compensate us.
So
it is clearly spelled out in the negotiations.
Okay, so I would actually believe that it would be a richer argument if we go out there and say, look, we're going to preserve our forest anyway. It is unfair that we negotiated one thing and you, the developed world, are coming up with all these impediments and hurdles we have to cross to access the funding. Notwithstanding, we're going to preserve our forests and, in fact, improve our forest cover anyway, whether you pay us or not. And at that point, I think we're shaming them to do something good.
I agree with you. But again, let me indicate that yes, because, of course, I always say that if we have a good environment, if we have good air to breathe, I don't think, or if we don't have good water to drink, that will not be the concern of the United States of America or the European Union. It is to the good of our own people. But again, I'm saying that we have a global problem. We have a global challenge. So anybody who is participating in addressing the challenge needs to be compensated for, just as your colleague was trying to tell you about the carbon border tax that has been introduced by the European Union.
All right, so let's talk about the carbon border tax now.
Yeah, so this is European Union. Have you realized that they told themselves they have to reduce their emissions by 55% based on the 1990 industrial levels by 2030, are now telling the developing countries that yes, we know you don't have stringent environmental rules or requirements in your country. So for that matter, if you are exporting your products into our country, then what we are going to do is that we are going to place a tax on the import that we are receiving as a European Union, so that we will use that to offset part of our 55% emission that we have promised the world that we are going to do. So in other words, they are trying very hard to pass on some of their responsibilities back to us by taking money from us.
So robbing Peter to pay Paul, essentially. They'll rob us and then give us some of the money and say, okay, go and use that to resolve your environmental issues.
So it is for that reason that I was very impressed by the stand taken by our president, signaling to the world that Ghana is ready to be part of the solution. However, we will not be carved into submission. And that is a very unique statement coming from an African leader.
All right, but if they impose their taxes on us, we don't have much of a choice, do we?
That is where we need to, just as your colleague said, we need to depoliticize our economic development agenda and ensure that policies are put in place, not action plans or strategy. Policies are put in place, and these policies given a legislative backing, so that even if one person introduces the policy and the person is no more in office, the next person who comes to office will ensure that we follow through those policies and ensure that we compete favorably with the global world.
All right, Mr. Doche, Seth alluded to something before he started the conversation with you, which has to do with the energy transition. So the whole world is trying to shift from the use of fossil fuels to renewable energy. That's why we're having a conversation about let's cut down or cut back on the use of coal in generating electricity and crude oil and all of that. Yes, that will impact us greatly because as he was indicating, we have all our this is the time when we're about to, exploit our crude reserves. And then the world is saying that, okay, we're going away from fossil fuels, and which would also mean then funding to exploit crude reserves becomes a lot more expensive and unavailable.
Exactly.
But then that's also an opportunity for us to look within, right? To try and resolve these problems ourselves. So yes, if we have our own money, we're going to exploit our fossil fuels.
Right. Yeah, so, for me, I keep saying that as a country, or even as a continent, we have attained political independence. So we need to attain economic independence. And that economic independence will only come about when we can judiciously exploit our natural resources to the best to our advantage. Now, this whole hula baloo about net zero by 2050, it is not about telling you that you don't do anything. It is about telling you that yes, because there's no industrial development that will not emit carbons. Every industrialization will have to put out some amount of carbon in the atmosphere. But there is a balancing equation. The idea is that yes, if you want to industrialize, then tell us how you are going to abate the emissions that you are going to reduce. So for me, just as I indicated, that what the president said is very instructive. For me, the key thing is that we have to continue to exploit our resources. Then, of course, in doing that, we have to find sustainable ways of doing that in order to balance what we have also put into the atmosphere. That will, I can assure you that when we go on that path, we are going to create more jobs than ever and reduce the unemployment that's looming in our face, taking into consideration the number of young people that are graduating from our university. There are innovative young guys who are out there. Whatever we are doing, if we can come together as a country, the exploitation of our hydrocarbons, I think this is the time for us to do that in order for us to move from where we are now to the upper lower middle income. Other than that, Israel, I can assure you that when this period is over, after 2030, those who will not take advantage now will be biting our face.
All right, so, and I want us to end on the energy conversation, which the energy minister is in Glasgow to talk about. And I'm hoping that we're going to be pushing a lot more renewable energy and talking about making maybe rooftop solar available so that homes can use solar, so that the fossils the hydrocarbons, we can give that to the industries. Or yes, even at some level, we can say we're making hydro available to the industry so that the homes and small offices can use solar. I'm hoping that that's a conversation that's going to come up today.
Sure, because I mean, it's very clear that if it to be to our own advantage if we move to renewable energies, because the issue is that those who are producing or manufacturing the machines that we use in our cars, in our homes, and the rest, yes, they are coming up with policies that, okay, by 2030, by 2050, they will no more be interested in producing combustible engines. So what do we do? So we also need to look at our technical education seriously so that we have the capacity. I don't know what it means is we just need a political leadership to ensure that we come apart with the rest of the world. And I believe that the energy minister will be talking seriously about that. We are also going to get ourselves seriously involved in the energy discussion. And mind you, we are also going to push for the developed countries to make the necessary technology available so that we can also respond to the needs of our people. The bottom line is that what is the needs of our people? I think that is what we have to keep telling the world, that this is what we need as a country. This is how we want to go about it, Israel.
All right. And Seth, you were worried that the filling stations, if we shut down the filling stations because we're not going to be using fuel anymore, then we can shut down the filling stations. But let's hope that we can replace those filling stations with solar charging points. Exactly.
And when I interviewed the energy minister on Monday, he said there has been a meeting, I think somewhere last week or last 2 weeks, and they are in talks with the oil companies. He mentioned Guel and one other. And they are very soon going to start installation of these chargers at the various filling stations we have in the country, Israel.
All right, so we're looking very much forward to the conversations on energy today. I, in particular, am very much looking forward to that because I'm excited about anything renewable energy. But thank you very much, Seth Kwame Boateng.
And are you there with Anywhere?
Yes, I am.
Seth, hi, how are you?
Anywhere, good morning. Are you taking care of GP?
Yes, please.
Is he taking care of what?
Of you.
GP.
What is GP?
GP. Should I say the full thing?
Seth, behave yourself. Behave
Seth,
yourself.
behave yourself.
No, hold on. Yes, Grandpa. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you too, Mr. Doche, for making time to speak with us here on the issues of climate change. We'll continue to have these conversations.
I think they're gone.
All right, they're gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to our next conversation. We have Dr. Amponsa Chiano. He's a programs manager, expanded program on immunization at the Ghana Health Service. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Dr. Achano, and thank you very much for making time to speak with us.
Good morning, my friend Israel.
Okay, Dr. Achano, great to have you. So I think that really we just want to know what's happening with the immunization. Over the past few weeks, we've had, quite a number of vaccines come in. We've been reading from the newspapers. And first of all, can you confirm that these vaccines have indeed arrived and that we're on the road? We're doing quite well on the road to getting those 20 million people vaccinated.
Thank you very much and good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners alike. Yes, I can confirm that we've received quite some substantial quantities of vaccines in terms of the number of doses. Even last night, we were at the airport to still take delivery of some additional vaccines.
Okay, so are we on course with our rollout plan?
Well, it's not a straightforward answer, yes or no, but it all depends on us. Initially, we were struggling to get the vaccines because if you had money at the time, you didn't even get the vaccines to buy. The vaccine landscape has changed, and we have quite some substantial quantities.
Okay, so has it changed? Has it changed because there's a lot more production going on or less demand?
Well, it's a very tricky question because at the time when we started in March, I remember high-level management made lots and lots of attempts to even purchase vaccines. They were not getting vaccines to buy. But we knew that around October, all those vaccines had been reserved in some other major countries would be released. For lack of a better term, let me put it like that. And so you will recall that in some of our conversations, I indicated that we would actually know exactly our roadmap in getting to the vision of vaccinating 20 million people around October ending.
Okay.
And exactly the case, because they've now released the vaccines and we are getting them in droves.
Okay.
So that is the situation.
It sounds like a mystery novel, Dr. Achano. The whole, they were holding the vaccines and will release it in October. I really want to know why. What's the story behind the holding of the...
I have no definitive answers to that. You can guess what happened. It is not just Ghana. I believe that you've been following the media. The fact that the lower income countries were not getting access to the vaccines. It's not just Ghana, it's all over the world.
Okay. So how many, are you able to give us an idea of how many vaccines we have in stock?
Yeah, definitely. To date, we've taken delivery of about 8.23 million.
Oh, wow, okay.
And we've originally distributed approximately 4 million. And quite recently, we are distributing the rest, the ones that we have received. I would say that the vaccine receipts would have improved around the past 2-3 weeks. That's when we had a lot of influx of vaccines.
Okay.
And so even though I'm talking 8 million, most of the vaccines were received just about 4 weeks coming.
Okay. So is that double doses? Is that one dose? And which of the vaccines are we talking about?
We have a combination of them.
Okay.
But the one that I would say would take about half of the entire consignment would be AstraZeneca. It's about 53% of all the vaccines we've received.
Okay.
But we've also received quite some substantial quantities of Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna.
Okay.
And we've distributed these on paper. We are in touch with the regions. We have a roadmap for deployment, and it's region specific because every region has their own peculiarities based on our past experiences.
Okay.
So I would say that half of these vaccines are AstraZeneca, the other half the others, with the exception of Sputnik, which we just had about that's around 21,000.
Okay.
Otherwise, the rest are paying in a little over $1 million.
Okay, you talk about the roadmap for distribution on paper. Do you want to just share with us the criteria that you're using to determine, which regions need, more vaccines than others?
So you will recall that from the beginning we did what we call population and geographic segmentation. It was based on the risk assessment, people who will really need, most at-risk groups and who will need a vaccine first. Suffice to say that if you have some small quantities of vaccines to share, you need to share it in a way that you get the maximum benefit. So we started with, if you recall, those most at risk, that these are the people with underlying conditions, the aged, we define the aged as persons 60 years and above, frontline security persons, frontline health workers, and then, of course, executive, frontline executive, and all those who would have to make decisions. Therefore, we needed to protect them so that they don't fall ill. And then gradually we expanded. Now we are in the second phase where we are doing everybody, irrespective of your risk category. So now we are doing the general population.
Okay, that sounds really good. When you say general population, you know that some people are still going to have, some sorts of concerns, and they're going to, worry about, should I just, what's the plan for achieving, the maximum reach, especially in the more rural areas, which maybe have not, had as much exposure to information?
Yeah, so it's all about communicating risk in terms of the benefits against the risks. Of course, there's no vaccine or no medicine which is 100% efficacious and 100% safe. There's nothing like that. Living life itself, as I always say, is a risk. So you take calculated risks. And so in this dispensation of activities towards preventing COVID, it's about communicating risk. People think that COVID is gone. And so you would recall last year, around this time, we had come out of the second wave, and gradually people were, reverting to their normal ways of life, and then were taken by surprise. So we've been here before. It is not as if when you have cases going down that it means the disease is gone. This is a very treacherous virus that changes its form. And it can do that at any time. And so we just have to guard against that, and we don't have to lower our guard at all. So again, when people perceive that cases are going up, they change their behavior, they now look for vaccines. But I tell you that the best time to fight a disease, an outbreak of a disease, is when you have low or no cases at all. If you get cases going up, of course, you'll be doing firefighting. This is the time for us to do a lot more of the vaccination so that we prevent a fourth wave. Again, there are some countries who are already in the fourth wave. You don't want to join them. And if you've been following the international media, you know that some countries are really suffering.
Yeah.
Very hard hit with the fourth wave. And we really have to take our guard.
Speaking of the fourth wave, I've been a little bit concerned when I see in the newspapers, the numbers that we're expecting for Christmas. The Minister of Tourism, did say we're expecting about 150,000 people to come through. during Christmas. We're doing the Beyond the Return. There's Afrochella, Coachella, everything Chella. You know, lots of chilling planned. I'm not going to try and pit you against, you know, government in any way, but I really want to know, you know, from a medical point of view, if it's such a good idea. I know that the economy is important. Tourism contributes such a large amount of, you know, money to the running of the country and all of that. But are we in a position to handle those kind of numbers? Do we have the infrastructure in place to handle those numbers, the checking, the testing, I mean, all of that? Is it a good idea?
Well, to say good idea or bad idea, it's not for me to as it were, judge. But the fact is that I have already indicated that life is about risk taking. You need to do calculated risks. So at a point when you feel that the risk is lower, of course, you definitely will have had the protocols in place. I believe that with the protocols in place, if we are going by them, testing before entering or boarding, testing at the airport, you reduce the risk as much as possible. And then, of course, when you get vaccinated. But as I said, it's about risk. So once you take the risk in a calculated form, I don't think that there will be cause for alarm. Of course, that is why it's so important that you take your vaccine and, of course, the other protocols seriously so that you protect yourself as well.
All right.
And your family.
Dr. Mponsanchiano, my friend, I'm taking over the conversation. Yeah, I'd want to come in at this point. Now, there are many people who are watching this show and they are eager to know, where can we go for the vaccines? What are you telling them?
Yes, so I believe that you probably are restricting yourself to Greater Accra. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we're across the country.
Regions, across the country, all public health facilities, if you look at Ashanti region, for example, they are vaccinating. Greater Accra was vaccinating, but the strategy has changed a bit because we've now got an influx or we've infused new vaccines, so they needed to re-strategize. Yesterday, they had a press briefing or conference, for lack of a better term. I mean, the press interaction, and to this morning, they are completing all the trainings and putting, dotting their I's and T's so that they can take off again with the new vaccines tomorrow being Friday. And it's again across all health facilities, public, and then some selected private facilities as well. I know that they would also be doing what we call the mobile, where teams visit some institutions and churches and mosques and, of course, the community at large, what we normally term as the outreaches. And so they are in the process of publishing the infographics that they do.
All right.
And so in no time, maybe by midday or so, it will be out.
Okay, so we're looking forward to having those infographics so we can share them so people can know exactly where to go. But you're indicating that you can go to any public health facility and you can get a vaccine.
For the public health facilities, it's non-negotiable. Every public health facility would be vaccinating.
All right.
It is the other facilities that probably we would have to know exactly where to go. But for all public facilities, they would be vaccinating.
So that's from tomorrow, Friday?
From tomorrow, yes. Of course, they've been vaccinating even Sunday. They were in the churches and other areas. But if I say from tomorrow, I'm talking about the new vaccines that they've received.
All right. And those two who took their first dose of AstraZeneca, and they're eager to know when can they go for that? Do they have to wait until the dates they were giving, or they can also walk into the facilities?
Well, for the avoidance of doubt, if they walk into the facilities, it's fine because they will definitely. In fact, we have AstraZeneca, and I know that in between, not just Greater Accra, they will be doing the second doses as well. So it will be a combined thing. It was not as if they want to finish everything and then go back to second. They will be combining the two. We have enough AstraZeneca as well. So there's no cause for alarm for the second dose. But if they are doubtful, they can walk into any of the public facilities.
All right, so we're looking as I indicated, we're looking forward to having those infographics so we can share with the rest of the country about where
Definitely. We are trying to compile that for the entire country, but if you look at over 5,000 facilities, it may not be worth it. We need to make them district specific. Right. Otherwise, it won't even be, I would say, it won't be helpful to publish a whole 5,000 facilities anymore.
Yeah. So we've been looking at the COVID-19 dashboard as well. We saw that there are just about 69 new cases. That was for October 27. Are we seeing, so generally there's been a decline in the number of new cases, and the active cases are also around 1,709. Would you say that we're seeing this partly because of the number of vaccines that have been rolled out so far?
Well, you cannot attribute this entirely to vaccines, but obviously all the protocols, including vaccinations, have played a role. However, I would still continue sounding a note of caution that we've been here before. Last year, I remember vividly, cases were going down, everything seemed normal. Again, this is a very treacherous germ which can change form at any time. Remember, we started with an original germ that changed form to alpha, beta, delta, and so on. Gamma. And I have been very consistent in my discussions and discourse with the media that I personally do not believe in whether it's alpha or delta or whatever. That is a personal thing and from my experience. What we know is that the virus can change form, and the more forms it changes into, the more ferocious it is. And so we should be careful around this time when we think that the cases are going down. This is when we actually have to up our game.
All right. And then we've also heard the Ghana Football Association indicate that people will be required to show their COVID-19 vaccination certificates before they enter the stadiums to watch football matches. Is the Ghana Health Service considering rolling this out to other events such as entertainment centers and cinemas and the rest?
Well, that is not a decision that I think Ghana Health Service made. Of course, that would probably have also involved the high-level management. I am not totally privy to that information, but I believe that it is based on the fact that we have vaccines to protect people, and therefore we do not put ourselves at unnecessary risk. So if the GFA has taken that decision, I wholeheartedly support that. And it is not in isolation, it is just an international practice. Almost everywhere, starting from Israel, once you complete your vaccination, you are free to go anywhere you want, except that you need to prove, because nobody will want you to pose a risk to others. I think that's the principle.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Kwame Amponsa Chano. He's a programs manager. He's with the Ghana Health Service. Programs manager, expanded program on immunization. We appreciate your time. And yes, so the word is out there. Please go get your vaccines from tomorrow. It's available at all public health facilities. So go for them and stay safe. Indeed, very soon, the GFA may have started, but before you know, other organizations are going to indicate that you need to show your proof of vaccination before you are entry. Yeah, you're allowed into any event center public or gathering. Anything. Yeah, so please take note of that.
Imagine if we did that for funerals.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Show, yeah, I know.
If we bring in funerals, then
that would be very interesting. Show your vaccination card. Then it would be amazing. They would probably cut down our cases by a lot, because we know that a lot of them happening at funerals. But Israel, so you've had a 5% discount, right? 10%, 15, 20. But 50%, that's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, but Seti Realty is offering you 50% discount on their dwelling properties. Prices are starting from just 210,000 Ghana cedis, just 210K. That's like the price of a brand new car.
The price of the brand new car that you
mean that's half the price of the Prado that you want? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This offer is for a limited time and on selected units. Terms and conditions apply. So if you're looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom home in a gated community, make sure you call Seti Realty. on 055-143-5555 or 055-143-8888. Or you can visit them online, www.nyameduaghana, so nyameduagh.com. Okay.
All right.
What are we doing next?
We're taking a break.
Okay.
But then after that, the Ghana Chamber of Mines is talking about commitment to health and safety as part of its National Safety Week.
Yeah.
So do stay tuned in. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back. Now, the Ghana Chamber of Mines is talking about commitment to health and safety as part of its National Safety Week. And they're here to tell us about the National Intermines First Aid and Safety Competition, which is an annual contest designed to educate mine workers, host communities, and the citizenry on basic first aid tips, as well as to foster the adoption of basic safety measures. Joining us this morning, Mr. Eric Jemfiapia. He's a safety manager, Anglo Gold Ashanti. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name. Do you want to just pronounce it for me?
Idriaprim Mines.
Aha, that one. That's one. Okay. Idriaprim Mines. And Joe Steve Annan, Senior Manager, Health and Safety, Anglo Gold Ashanti. So good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
So I'm tempted to do a mini competition on first aid with you guys. Would you do well if we did? It's about a competition, isn't it?
Interesting. We're not here for competition. We're here to sensitize people about the need
to know
for the intent of the competition, not the competition.
So if I asked you about some first aid questions, you would not be able to answer?
Oh, it's not about being able to
answer. I'm just worried.
I know, right? And it's not just first aid, it's safety and first aid.
It's safety and Exactly. No, I mean, I was reading the concept notes and I thought, let me be a little bit mischievous this morning. Okay, so let's get into it. So the concepts of first aid and safety, how are they related in the first place?
So let me pick that one. First aid and safety. So if you take the whole scope of health and safety, so before somebody gets, let's say, injured from an accident, there must have been a failure in a certain control of an activity. That control was put in place from either some risk assessment or design or construction. That construction was put in place as a result of some conceptual design or engineering design. So health and safety spans from engineering design, construction, execution, controls, and then if something goes wrong, we have the injury. So if that injury is attended to early, then it can prevent somebody from either dying or getting some disability or something like that. That is the first aid aspect. But talking about health and safety in general, for instance, we have a tank. If the tank, you don't cover it well, somebody will fall in it.
Yeah.
If you don't design it well, you can't cover it well. If somebody falls in it, he gets injured. If somebody gets injured, you attend to him first aid.
Yeah.
So the first aid is an aspect of the entire health and safety.
Of the health and safety.
Exactly.
I think as you describe it, my mind goes to the kind of attention to detail that sometimes is lacking, especially here in our country. You know how somebody will build something and the thing that's supposed to cover it doesn't fit properly. Things don't fit properly, and we don't think about the long-term effects of these things. So I mean, really, you really want to bring our minds to the importance of those things.
Exactly the point. So in the mines, we do all this. So before we say we are going to build a particular machinery, we have review of the design. People come into, okay, this one, if we build it here, people will be impacted. If we don't put in these controls, these are the accidents that can happen before the design is even approved by Minerals Commission. So when the design gets approved, the construction of it, we get checked by what we said we're going to do if we're doing it. Now, we've constructed it. People have to operate it.
Yeah.
Are people obeying the operating procedure or not? So all these are controls. So if people are obeying the procedure and something goes wrong, somebody disobeys something, then there is an accident. There is an accident. Do we have emergency response team? Paramedics, etc., to respond to the accident and make sure that if people are injured, they are taken care of. That is the first aid aspect. And you can translate that to our own nation. On the roads, how many accidents do we have?
So many
Lots of them.
So many.
We have ambulances, etc., to attend to them. But that is not it all. It starts from the design of the road itself, the construction,
the placing of street lights,
exactly, a whole lot of speed limits, a whole lot of factors come into play. So the controls start failing from design, construction, operation, before it comes to the tail end of the injuries where we need to employ the first aid. So we are looking at safety holistically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Do you want to fill us in on some of the cardinal principles of occupational health and safety?
All right. Thank you. And good morning to your viewers. Just as Steve has said, the concept itself talks about protection or preservation of human life. So when it comes to any organizational or occupational health and safety system, you first have to identify the issues that poses the risks to the human being. So the first thing that you need to look at is the identification of the issues and then implementation of systems to manage that risk. Now, once you put in the systems in place, you need to communicate to the workforce. That's the human capital that you are trying to protect. So you need to do training. You create awareness. You need your people to be competent. He mentioned systems of safe operating procedures, if I should put it that way. You need to train the people to understand the risks involved in whatever they are doing and why they should be doing that. Now, when you are developing the system, one key factor is also to ensure that there's communication between the management team and the workforce.
Okay.
So it's a two-way thing. The workforce are the people who are going to implement it. So they need to be involved right from the beginning of the development of the systems.
Okay.
So that when they go to the field or you get the compliance that we require to make them safe. Otherwise, it will be like you are imposing something on them, and then they will not be working according to those standards that we've put in place.
No, I totally get that. Did you want to add something to?
I think he said it all.
He said it. But I mean, this is just a little bit off, our line of questioning. But I'm interested to know, how do you get the average Ghanaian worker to comply with these things? Because, we have a mind of our own on everything, and there's the rules and then there's us, so, and considering how important safety is and what it means when something happens. It happens on a large scale when it happens. How do you, get people to really just comply to the rules that you've laid down?
So I think when Joe was talking, he talked about design. Now, the issue that you are raising has to do with the behavioral aspect. Now, let me use myself for example. All right. Before my close relations, some of them, before they started learning how to drive, they were not complying with the use of seatbelts.
Okay.
Now, the seatbelt has been designed for the safety of the human being. In case there's an accident, a vehicular accident, the seatbelt protects you from being thrown off board. So it's something that I used to educate my close family. And they do tell you, please, Mr. Safety Man, it ends at your workplace, not at it. But consistently, the awareness creation, they see me doing it. Leadership by example. We walk the talk. You don't just preach it. They see you do it. And I believe that if we see a lot of people complying with those things, the industry, the mining industry itself, it's a small area as compared to the general populace. But if those of us in the industry replicate what we do at the workplace in the general public, you see that some of our friends, our colleagues will also pick up, and then they will have that cultural change. And I believe if we are able to do it progressively, at a point in time, you will see that our people will be complying with the safety protocols.
Okay. That sounds hopeful. You give me hope. Did you want to add?
No, just to let you know exactly what happens in the mining industry. So it's a requirement that before anybody starts work in the mining industry, there's what we call induction.
Okay.
The induction is what tells you what we do, what are the hazards, the risks associated with what we do, and the controls. And it tells you, because of that, you need to use your PPE, and you know what kind of PPE to use, and you are trained as to how to use it. And then there are procedures that you need to read, and you've been trained in it already. So you have series of protocols that we go through. Before you start any task, you need to do a risk assessment. The risk assessment, identify controls and fix them before you start work. And it's stringent, it's legal. You know, so you can't come into the mining industry and just say that, so
I'll do what I want.
We have our own protocols.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's talk about COVID-19 because it affected all of us. But what are some of the crucial lessons that you guys were able to pick up on the enforcement of the protocols, in your communities?
All right, let me take that one. With the enforcement, we all know that, from now, majority of the populace know that the stringent measures that we put in place actually help with the reduction of the spreading of the disease. Such like what the government was doing nationwide, identifying those who had the virus, isolating them, and then treating them. Now, in our area, one of the lessons that we learned was that our emergency response did not cover much of a pandemic. So when it came to identification and isolation of those who had been infected, you need to quarantine them some way. So we hurriedly had to create isolation centers on our mind. And so what we've done is that we have revised our emergency response procedures to include pandemics, and now we have system in place to actually manage when we have those things. Another key thing that is worth mentioning is that we also had to manage the myth within the community. Because as of now, there are still a lot of people within the communities who do not believe that COVID-19 exists. So we needed to do a lot of mind changing, awareness campaign, people coming as coming to give their own personal stories for them to understand. And then those who were also treated, we remember initially some were saying that when you go for treatment, it affects your manhood and other. So there are a lot of myths within the community, and that is one of the things that we needed to tackle. And then for us, for the mines, it's easier because we already abide by rules and regulations. So in terms of the general personal hygiene protocols, we were doing them. And then we also assisted the community by providing the necessary hand washing facilities, water, sanitizers, and all the other stuff. And then kept on encouraging them. So almost every time we were on the radio, community centers, broadcasting, and educating the people on how to prevent the spread of the disease within the... Another issue that we also challenged and we picked was stigmatization. Initially, those who were showing signs of the disease were not willing to come forward. So again, we needed to educate the masses that it was okay for you to come and then create a different mindset within the community. So that's basically one of the few challenges that we had when we came to the enforcement of the COVID-19 protocols within our communities.
Sure. Do you want to add anything?
No, I guess the focus on the preventives.
Right.
So, and then the preventives not only within the companies, but also the communities in which we operate. I know from Anglo Gold, Ashanti or Boise, for instance, when the peak of the COVID-19, came in, I don't know if you remember, even getting sanitizers was an issue.
A problem. It was serious.
And we did our own sanitizers.
Oh, nice.
And as I speak, even the Chamber of Mines uses it. Our communities, we distribute to our communities, the schools and the workers, and it's for free. We don't sell. I mean, it's FDA approved.
Oh, nice.
And but we don't sell.
That's good.
Actually, we can even give you some. But you see, these are some of the preventives. And then the social distancing in buses, in the offices, masks, and then the job rotation. Some of the jobs that can be done from home. Those people are working from home. And so that the population density in the work office area will be reduced. And so focus on the preventives helped a lot.
Helped a lot.
Yeah, so it's combination of the preventives as well as the reactives, right?
Okay. So before you go, do you want to just walk us through some of the practical ways that we can keep a safety mindset at all times and everything, gosh, especially on our roads, in our communities, just, being safe?
I can say some of the practical ways is what you and I are doing here now, to sensitize the public for people to get the understanding. But I think on a more serious note, we as not only the mining industry, as a nation and as a citizen, I think we need to understand the concept of health and safety and take it serious. Because it's not only in the mining industry. I know the oil and gas industry has a good safety culture and that kind of thing, but it has to translate into the way we live, the way we do our things from home, etc. And so it all boils down to education, sensitizing people, getting the mindset changed. It's a continual education.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is what I don't know if you can add something.
I think you said it all.
Okay.
It was boils down to the education, awareness creation. And I think we should also use the opportunity. Sometimes people tend to believe or accept things when they see them pictorial or videos. So on our routes, for instance, sometimes recently we engaged the drivers union in our municipality because of the nature of the accidents that we went. And some of them came out and they actually appreciated the program that we did. So it's the awareness creation, engaging the people. And the more you drum the noise into their ears, then people become used to the safety protocols that they are supposed to follow on our routes.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we wish you all the best. I hope that you continue to make a great impact on the communities that you're with. So, okay, so we're going to move on now. Actually, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be bringing you all the NSMQ updates and Showbiz as well. Stay tuned in. Don't go anywhere.
All right, so the preliminary stage of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz ends tomorrow, Friday, 5th November 2021. OT, Volta Zone, and the Ashanti regions are expected to produce the remaining 13 prelim winners. Maxwell Agwagwa joins us live from Ho. Hello, Maxwell. All right, so you tell us what's happening in Ho today.
Well, exactly like you rightly mentioned, the Volta region is going to be the last place for the preliminary round of competition. We were in the Greater Accra region, moved to the Central region, then to the Eastern region, and then now we're here at the Volta region where we're going to see the last round of preliminary contest. And then we move on to the elimination stages, which is the 1A stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz. We go on to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the grand finale. That's what we've all been, waiting for. But here in the Volta region, specifically at Ho, I'm standing just about 100 meters away from the Nat Hall where the competition itself will be taking place. Already, some schools have started arriving here on the ground. I've seen contestants from Abosinian High School. They are in the auditorium already. We're expecting more schools to arrive on the ground. Now, coming here to the Volta region and engaging the NSMQ mood, a lot of people I've been speaking to tell me that they feel and they believe that 2021 is the year for a Volta region school to win the National Science and Maths Quiz trophy. Because since its inception in 1993, no school from the Volta region has ever won the National Science and Maths Quiz. Of course, we can talk about some NSMQ giants like Keta Senior High Technical School. We can talk about Bishop Herman College, which in recent times, they've not really been doing well in the NSMQ. But no school from the Volta region has ever won the National Science and Maths Quiz. And this year, they are hoping to break that jinx. Indeed, in May, June, when we visited for the regional qualification contest, the chief of Sokpo told me that they've been engaging quite a number of stakeholders on this, trying to find ways and means and how, they can actually break that jinx and win the trophy for the first time. time. Interesting contests we have for you today. Now, the first contest is going to be between Bishop Herman College. We also have Abo Senior High School in that contest, and then in Kwanta Senior High School in that particular contest. That's going to start at exactly 9 a.m. We also have at 11 a.m. Sugakopa SHS, EPC Mauko Girls SHS, and then St. Paul's SHS. A lot of people I've been speaking to are hoping that EPC Mauko Girls would qualify for the 1/8 stage of the competition. Just like no school from the Volta region has won the competition, in fact, no girls' school has ever won the National Science and Maths quiz since 1993. And each year we move around for the competition. People express optimism that a girls' school will win it for the first time. It never happens. Same thing is happening this year. Throughout the Greater Accra region, Central, Eastern, and then here in the Volta region, you hear a lot of talk about getting a girls' school to win, to boost, their confidence level, their morale. We are hoping that EPC Mauko Girls, many people are also hoping that EPC Mauko Girls will qualify for the next stage. But a contest that a lot of people are looking forward to is the last contest for the day. Sunrise SHS, Kajabi Asato Senior High School, and then Karachi Senior High School. Now, Sunrise Senior High School first, they were debutants in the year 2018, and the first time they competed in the National Science and Maths quiz, they caused a shock to an NSMQ big giant like Opokuwari School. In fact, they beat them in that 2018 contest to qualify for the 1/8 stage. That led to massive online trolling of Opokuwari School, because not many people expected Sunrise Senior High School. They were making their debut in 2018. Not many expected them to beat an NSMQ giant like Opokuwari School, but they were able to do that and consolidate their wins. In fact, in the regional qualification contest this year, we saw a bit of that. In fact, they beat 3 other schools to qualify for the national competition. Now, in the regional qualification contest, they had 54 points. The 3 other schools that competed against them did not even make 10 points in the regional qualification contest. Now, through the regional qualification contest, they qualified for the national competition. Now, in the Volta OT regional championship also, they proved to be a force to reckon with. Now, they beat Ola Senior High School in the preliminary contest to make it to the grand finale. They were actually in the finals of the Volta OT Zone Championship, and that was won by Keta Senior High Technical School. So there's many people here are expecting a lot from them. NSMQ, they made their first debut, like I mentioned, in 2018. But many think that they can make a change and they can cause a difference. Some even think that they will be able to bring the trophy that the Volta region has been craving for some time now. So really, basically, that's it. All is set. The auditorium, it's set. Everything is ready. We're just waiting for the schools to arrive here on the ground for the competition itself to start today and then tomorrow, Israel.
All right, so Maxwell, I heard you say initially that there's a chief who's saying he's going to do everything possible to make sure the trophy comes home. Which chief is this, and what exactly is he doing?
Well, he's the chief of Sokwe. He's the chief of Sokwe, and he has been telling us that they've been engaging the teachers and then the management of the various senior high schools here in the Volta region. Now, Keta Senior High Technical School has always been the NSMQ ambassadors for the Volta region. Anytime they go for the national competition, it is Keta Senior High School, Keta Senior High Technical School that represents the school very well. But this time around, what they want to do is to get other schools also showing that this is what the Volta region has to offer. They think that it shouldn't just be Keta Senior High Technical School. They have schools that they think have the potential to also get there, to also get to the point where Keta Senior High School Technical School gets to. So we're talking about schools like Bishop Herman College, we're talking about schools like Ola Girls, we're talking about EPC Mauko Girls and the likes. So basically engaging the stakeholders, getting the teachers to understand and understand the rudiments, the various things that can make them win a National Science and Maths Quiz trophy. And of course, the motivation has also, the talk about motivation has also been there. There's been a lot of engagement with the old students of these schools also to try and get them to motivate the contestants. They tell me that it is very important because a lot of the winning schools we've been speaking to, they tell us that their old students have invested a lot into the competition. It's not just about infrastructural investment, but also monetary, motivation for the contestants to do well. So they tell me that these are some of the things that they're doing, to push a Volta region school to win the trophy for the first time after 20 years, Israel.
For a moment, I actually thought that some ways and means had come into the picture, but now that you've cleared the air, I'm a lot more comfortable with that. Now, you talk about the schools having to go through to the 1A stage and the various stages before they get to the very final. So when you say the final, you mean that's when we are all glued to the TVs and we're following the competition where we have the quiz mistress herself presiding, right?
Exactly. So we're going to have Professor Elsie Ifa-Kaufman. She will be moderating from the quarterfinals of the competition. And that is the most competitive part. So the most competitive part of the National Science and Maths Quiz starts from the 1A stage. So this is where we have the 27 seeded schools joining the competition. They are seeded schools by virtue of their performance in the previous year's competition. So this is where you have the likes of Wege, St. Augustine's College, all the NSMQ giants who performed very well in the previous year's competition joining. And at this stage, it is no longer the preliminary stage, it is the elimination stage. At this stage, you lose, you are out of the competition. At the preliminary stage, even if you lose, you still have some glimmer of hope that you could, hold on to, because top 15 losing schools will still get opportunity to progress to the 1A stage of the competition. Right. But if you get to the 1A stage, you do not have any opportunity. You lose, you are out. So 1A stage, you win, you qualify for the quarterfinals, then you can progress to the semifinals and then the grand finale. So the most competitive part really starts from the 1A stage. And usually, even at this level, the 1A stage is usually at the University of Ghana campus. But because of COVID, they have to do it at the regional level. But this time, the 1A stage is going to be in Kumasi. Okay. And I'm told that Comerica cannot wait to have the NSMQ, because for many years, they've been craving for this to come to the Garden City. And this time around, the most competitive part of the National Science and Maths Quiz is going to be, in Kumasi. In fact, Kojo Yangson at the launch said that in Kumasi, we're going to have two problems of the day. The first problem of the day would be from the quiz mistress, and the second problem of the day will be staying awake after eating a bowl of fufu for lunch. Yeah.
All right, but this
so
is
another school has arrived. In Kwanta Senior High School, they've arrived. They're making their way to the Nat Hall.
All right. So this is the point. This 1A stage, which is the final gathering in Kumasi. This is where the likes of Accra Academy and Okwapman School are going to pip the Wege Hayes and Pokuwari and all those other big schools. They are all those other schools, right? Oh, we actually lost, but I needed clarity to that.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't even know why you're talking about Okwas and all of that. Anyways, we're going to take a break because we're not going to talk about Okwas today too. And when we come back, we'll be bringing you Showbiz with IB. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, but the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with AFSA Ghana. And the broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Cowbell, Papa's Pizza, Ace Medical Insurance, Tampico, DBS Industries Limited, Smart App, and Dole Yogurt. We'll be back with Showbiz. Stay tuned.
You're still on the AM show, and you are now just about to experience what's happening in the world of showbiz. The name is IB, and on Sunday, on the 7th, 5 p.m. prompt at National Theatre, there is a show, a concert. It's a gospel concert, actually. And it is trying to raise awareness on child trafficking. Wow. So I keep thinking about it. How does gospel music and child trafficking what is the line of symmetry here? How do they connect? And how does the gospel music stop or put a stop to child trafficking? Leo, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks.
Yo, Eugene.
Hey, yo.
How long has it been?
Oh, I think it's about 2 years.
So this man only looks for me when there's a concert.
No,
I like it anyway. I like
not
it.
really. No, last year it was COVID. So
Okay, so last year there was no concert.
Yes.
Okay. But there's going to be a concert on Sunday.
Yes, there's going to be a concert on Sunday. It's called the Arise concert.
Arise.
Yes. And
you're on it.
Yeah, I'm on it. I'm actually one of the main coordinators because of my work at International Justice Mission, IJM, and that's why we are here this morning. Yeah.
Well, Leo, you are the advocacy and partnership at IJM. So you are the director.
Yes.
Exactly how is this? Okay, so you are trying to raise awareness for child trafficking in Ghana, right? But you decided to use music.
Yeah.
What's the connection here?
Yeah, so it's not just music we're using. We're actually trying to use creative arts to sensitize participants at this concert about the problem of human trafficking. And so we'll be using poetry, we'll be using music, we'll be using light painting, we'll be using dance and skits, just to sensitize participants about the problem of human trafficking and sort of inspiring and influencing them to go out and take action against this problem.
So this problem, it means, is very persistent even in our communities.
Oh yeah, man. The Volta Lake is a great example. I mean, if you should go to the Volta Lake right now, the sun is really hot this morning, if you've realized. I mean, it's really hot this morning.
Yeah, when I was coming, I was feeling it.
Yeah, but you and I are in the studio, and many people are in their offices, enjoying the coolness of the AC and all that. But right now on the Volta Lake, there are hundreds and thousands of children that are being exploited when they are meant to be in school. So it's a major concern, and all of us must be responsible in addressing it. And so that's why a Rise concert is happening this Sunday.
The concert is going to happen, yes, no two is about it, but what are you putting in place for, what measures are you putting in place for these trafficking to halt, stop, or even to put security measures on it?
So as an organization, we work very closely with government. We support the Ghana Police Service. We also work closely with the Department of Social Welfare. We also work with other stakeholders to identify these cases of trafficking, and then we support the police to rescue these children. We also support the Department of Social Welfare to provide holistic healing and rehabilitation for these children when they are rescued. Our team also support Ghana's state attorneys and prosecutors to prosecute the perpetrators when they are arrested. And so, in as much as we are raising awareness about this problem, we are also working and supporting Ghana Police Service, Department of Social Welfare, that is doing amazing work to halt this problem.
And also, you can also have your part to play in this. If you suspect anybody, all you have to do is just make sure you call the police. That is how you become your brother's keeper. But Eugene,
hi.
Let's look at the excitement on Sunday.
All right, so Sunday we are having a ball in the presence of the Lord. And you asked what the connection between.
Yes.
So as Christians, the God that we worship actually abhors taking advantage of the vulnerable. And so one of the main things that we are doing is to sound a clarion call to the Christian community to live up to their expectations or speaking for the voiceless. And so the celebration of music and art is just one of the ways we are using to sound out loud that kind of message. And so on Sunday, we are going to have ministers like Pastor Helen Yolson ministering. We are going to have Pastor Sheila Whitcomb of Agape House. We are going to have Bethel Revival Choir ministering. And we're also going to have Koda also joining us on Sunday.
You're not singing?
And I'll also be I'll be supporting both from the back of house, and then I'll just pass through with a song or two just to please God and my bosses.
You're going to please God and your bosses.
God and my bosses.
Okay. Well, how much do I have to pay to enter?
It's totally free. It's free, and the gates opens at actually 4 p.m. We are starting at 5, gates opens at 4, but it will be because of COVID protocols, we are not filling the place to capacity. And so we have there's a link out there on myticket.com where you can book a free ticket, and then you just show it up at the gates, and then you're admitted.
If you're not filling the auditorium, but you should have 2 concerts in one day.
We are starting with one.
Okay, so it's going to come up again.
Yeah, we're going to start. It's an annual concert now.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to be bigger. Our dream is one of the years to actually end up at the Independence Quarter Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Leo, thank you so very much.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
God bless
and
you.
like I said, you shall be each other's keeper. If you are smelling any sight or any smell or someone trying to traffic a child, all you have to do is just make sure you call the police, and that is how we can sensitize these things and bring serenity into our environment. Well, at Showbiz, it is still on the AM show. The name is Ibrahim Benbako. Don't forget that you can follow me on IG on all social media platforms. Ivy Benbako. But Easy and Anymore will be back after this breather.
Come on. God is no man. God is no man. God is a lie. Whatever he says, he will do. Whatever he says, he will do. Ladies, he will take care of you. Say, he will take care of you. He will provide for you. There is nothing. There is nothing that God can't do. He will take care of you. He will take care of you. He will provide for you. There is nothing. There is nothing that God can't do. Whatever he says, hey, he will do. Whatever he says, are you there? He will do. God is no man. That is sure. Everybody say. Whatever he says, he will do. He will do. Whatever he says, he will do. Whatever he says, he will do. Whatever he says, hey, he will do. He will take care of you. He will take care of you. Provide for you. He will provide for you. There is nothing. He will take care of you, say. He will take care of you. He will provide for you. There's nothing.